Hey guys, it's Mark Potter, Mark Isaac Potter. This is take number 20, God knows what. I'm going to call it number 25. We had two, I started doing 25 twice already and made some kind of mistake where I had to stop in the middle. I love you guys. This is things I have to tell you before I start the story. Number one, I live in a group home. So it means that there sometimes are people coming in and out of the room. There's lots of ambient sound. If someone steps into the frame of the camera, I am going to turn to them and ask their permission for them to be in the camera frame because I don't think you're allowed to tape people without having their permission. So if I don't get their permission, I'll have to throw that take out. This is a story, version 25. It's called Marilyn at the Bistro. It's a story of a woman alligator. Yes, you heard that right. A woman alligator who moves to the big city and does something important with her life. The story has two aspects. One of them is the story itself. The other aspect or part of the story, and they go back and forth in between each other, is the writer telling us his fears, his worries, his troubles in life, what he's concerned about, is kind of worrying about his own prejudices, things like that. Now, all these versions, I've been trying to figure out a way to give you a really clear cue. When am I telling the story? And when am I doing the part about the writer speaking to us readers, we readers? First, I thought maybe just having me pause would do the job. I don't know if it would. On paper, I've got them in different colors, but you can't see that. So I'm going to do this first time. When I'm telling you the story, I'm going to look like this. When I start being the writer who is speaking to we readers, I am going to try to put on a hat. As silly as that is, it's a silly hat too. I wish I had my other hat, but I don't know where it is. So I'm going to try that. I haven't tried that before. And I may stand up and sit down and stand up and sit down because my legs hurt like hell at this point. I've been at this for 3 days, which is fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. It just takes so long to do it, and the camera slips sometimes, and people come in and out of the room, and God knows what else. So let's review. So when I'm like this, barehead, I'm telling you the story of the woman who goes to the big city, the woman alligator who goes to the big city. When I'm the writer, telling you about his troubles, fears, worries, etc., I'm going to put this hat on. As corny as that is, I don't know. I can't think of anything else to do that would clearly delineate which part is which. You should be able to tell from the story, but I worry about whether you could. I'm just trying to get my legs to stop hurting long enough to read it. A couple of times I started and then I turned off the camera accidentally. I've made almost every mistake. Well, probably not every mistake. Anyway, let's go for it, guys. Marilyn at the Bistro, version 25. I need you. May I say that? I have no fascinating first line with which to start this story. The blue teal alligator, saddened by his mother's refusal, being pushed into the making of a choice, slid past all the memories of his youth, made his way to the river. My sleep has been atrocious lately. An ongoing absence of sleep, or even an absence of the proper amount of sleep, can be truly dangerous. The blue teal alligator slid past what? The community of Marshgrass, where he once kissed Mary Lou, the very same Mary Lou who later changed her name to Sunrise and then floated off to the big city only to become an important person, a very important person. Sunrise, the woman alligator, not the event, did summon the power, the wherewithal to pull out of her trauma her humble beginnings, and as they say, she made something of herself. My stomach hurts to the point of queasiness, hurts enough to be disturbing my mental processes, and so it begins the breakdown of the human psyche. Please don't be afraid for me. I'm attempting to write a short story about the young woman alligator named Sunrise and her travails in the big city. Usually, writing helps my mental state, and with the dull gray paint on the walls as my witness, I am now writing, attempting to write my way away from yet another breakdown. Sunrise, who began now to call herself Marilyn, both as an homage to her birth name, Mary Lou, and yet to give herself some sophisticated big city identity, found, both to her horror and delight, that sleeping with men had its privileges if a woman knew how to play her cards right. But now that I am temporarily focused more on this alligator story than on my own downfall from sanity, how can I be writing about an alligator? I mean, really, an alligator who goes to the big city? How dare I present a trope of country woman goes to the big city? Also, I worry, I really do worry, if my story is sexist in any way. I often worry about these days about being sexist. How can I look outside myself to see my own sexism? Marilyn had been working on some intricate things as part of her new life in the big city. As late summer heat turned to the color of autumn leaves, a favorable turn of events arrived. This turn of events came the night Marilyn was having an elegant dinner with her client Ambrose, a ridiculous yet powerful man, a calm yet highly nervous man who, even to this day, is unable to glue together a personal relationship of any kind. But he is a master at business. Ambrose spun off businesses the way Iris, the colorful messenger of the Greek gods, spun off rainbows. He could even pretend to deeply care about his business associates. By the time Ambrose and Marilyn met in the bistro, Marilyn was already 3 years into taking classes at Quadruped University near Billings, Montana. Yes, she was the only alligator in her class, which made her even more keen to crawl to the top of the social ladder. I love you, Ambrose finally said, his face focused on the escargot, his fingers restlessly playing with each shell. I want you to myself, whatever it takes. I don't care what it takes. I only care about you. Marilyn thought to herself, he is not actually want me, not like that, all to himself for love, but rather he is worried about catching something from the other tricks. He is worried about me telling any of his business secrets to my other clients. Marilyn decided to call Ambrose's bluff. Okay, she said dryly, you get me a nice apartment, a monthly income of, say, $4,000 a month, and you set me up in a fun business that can't fail, say my own clothing store, my own vintage clothing store just off the main drag. Ambrose's collarbone twitched as he listened to Marilyn's comments, as he listened to her idea of what an arrangement might look like. He knew what that meant to him. He excused himself to the restroom. Ambrose had a delicious ritual for situations like this. Once in front of the mirror, he put a diamond earring in his right ear. He knew he was justified in doing so. Ambrose got out his fun plastic gun, so undetectable he was especially proud of the silencer, which he had designed himself. Well, Marilyn, He whispered into the mirror. Your price is too high. I guess things are not going to work out. Once back at the table, Ambrose did not finger his escargot shells as he had been doing before. Instead, he put his right hand palm up on the table, his left hand in his oversized left pocket. Calmly but awkwardly, he began to address the items on Marilyn's list, starting with the vintage clothing store. What on earth makes you think a vintage clothing store can make money? He said, raising his voice as he touched himself on the way down to his pocket and his plastic joy. Marilyn struck instantly, becoming a pole vaulter, a gymnast, a cobra, all at the same motion. Airborne for his neck, she opened the giant clamps of her jaws. She swung her tail around to slap a Glock out of the hands of Ambrose's accomplice. Blue, various shades of blue, is the color of all civilian police in the alligator world. Teal blue, paradoxically, is the color of some undercover cops. Marilyn's friend Marvin, from back home in the marsh, was a few feet away, flashing his badge for the nervous manager who had come stomping out of the back room, and for the other patrons looking out from under their tables. Marvin walked into the center of the room, continuing to show his badge. Detective Marilyn Albright, he said, your first caller. Take him away, boys. Marilyn and her boyfriend Marvin slapped their tails in an alligator high five and rubbed shoulders as they crawled down to the Blue Uniform, the best cop bar in this town, where all their friends cheered and cheered. The end.